Oi! Hello, my name's Quinlan and this is Melbourne Musos Live. This is a rolling shuffle. And I'm making this on the week that dear Frank Beard, the drummer for ZZ Top, passed away. And he was one of the kings of the shufflers with the good old down Texan boogie kind of stuff. So he's gone to the great gig in the sky, Mr. Frank Beard. So I thought in dedication to Frank Beard, I would do a little show about all the different kinds of shuffles out there. And one of the things that sometimes gets away from some drummers is to get a nice kind of swing. You got to swing, swing, swing in a shuffle. And what starts to happen is that sometimes it can be, a little bit, you want to try and get the flow, hello flow. Where shuffles come from is a blues beat, okay? And for this particular demonstration, I'm going to count triplets, all right? It can be in 12/8, but I'm going to be counting triplets. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3, 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and a 3 and a... There you go. Now, you've got that 3. I'm getting stuck straight into it. Then what you do is with the triplets, you take out the and. So it'll be 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4. You get that? And then what starts to happen then is that you can just adjust your counting like skipping. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Now a shuffle in and of itself is exactly that. If anyone can remember skipping across the schoolyard, in kinder, and all that sort of biz. Just the 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 da 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 M-I-C-K 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Do you see? So what happens then is then you put in the bass drum and snare drum 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 in its most basic of ways. Build it up a bit. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 There you go. Now there's your basic shuffle, okay. Now one of the other things that's around quite a bit, even at the moment, sometimes beats are fashionable, in fashion, out of fashion, whatever it might be. There was a time when the good old twist was, the dance craze in the late 50s into the 60s. That's how the Beatles started, surf rock, all that sort of business as well. And, dance craze, away you go. Then, say in the 2000s, you had bands like Green Day, Blink-182, Offspring, and next thing you know, you cut time. That kind of thing, and all that sort of biz, there you go. And what happens at the moment is halftime shuffle seems to be quite popular with all the rappers. So you get this kind of half-time, meaning instead of the rate being crotchets, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, it's now minims. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1. Double paradiddle kind of thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 to 3 4, 1 and 2 3 and 4, 1 to 2. Oh, sorry about that. And there you go. That's a half-time shuffle. I am going through them fairly quickly because I've got a few to get through. And then we come to one of the things that Frank Beard of ZZ Top, God bless him, was fantastic at, the Texan shuffle. Some people know it as the jump rhythm and all that. And what it is you've got your shuffle, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. You do it with your left hand as well. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And then what goes on is that you put in an accent on 2 and 4 if you can, with a little bit of the vip, which I mention a lot. The vipping. So you get 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. If I exaggerate it, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. 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 4 on the floor. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. There you go. There's a Texan shuffle. It's also known in jazz circles as a jump rhythm. And there you go. That kind of thing. Now, with all this business, you've got... When you're talking about ZZ Top and their style, Texan boogie, you know, that kind of bit. And just fantastic, really. You know, they've had a long, long career. And all the same members and stuff. Now, sadly, with 2 of them gone now, this sort of thing. Anyway, but they're carrying on. Anyway, I digress. I'll keep on going with this. What starts to happen then is that you have all the derivatives of a shuffle. Now, as I said at the top of the show, shuffles can be a little bit deceptively difficult to get just a good feel, even just to keep it simple. And what starts to happen is that you want to try and just get a few little practice things going. A great little triplet exercise is literally just 3 notes. Right, left, right. That's it. Right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right. So, bow, bow, bow. The left hand acts like a bit of a spacer block, you see. Imagine that on the practice pad. Left hand here. And that gives you an even shuffle in its most basic of ways. And so it goes. And there you have that. So what starts to go on is with that, I've got, it comes from the blues beat. You go into a basic shuffle. There's the halftime shuffle, which I've just talked about. And I'm talking about the Texan shuffle now, which was a ZZ Top specialty kind of thing. Any kind of Texan thing. Even Stevie Ray Vaughan with different things, you know, all Texas. You know, they love that. It's what's called a Texan shuffle. It's got that trademark sound both together. Got to do that little flick, flick, flick. And there you go. Now, a couple of derivatives now. Reggae. What starts to happen is that you can go over to a rim click, and then you could have the same shuffle. But what starts to go on is that you can have the one drop is basically the snare drum or the rim click and the bass drum on 3. So you might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Reggae one drop. Okay. It sounds a little bit on the, let's say, empty side, because what happens is reggae, it really is a rhythm section kind of thing, in the sense that you've got your guitar on the offbeats, Earlier in the year, I did a tribute to Sly Dunbar, and fantastic for his reggae. So I'm really re-explaining that kind of biz, but this time more for Frank Beard and ZZ Top, although they're not reggae, but these are the derivatives of reggae. Or derivatives of a shuffle, I should say. Pardon me. Then what starts to happen is that when you've got that, you can also start to get into some of the things that Stuart Copeland is famous for with the Police and stuff. They were big on reggae. And what starts to go on is instead of the snare drum on 2 and 4, it's the bass drum on 2 and 4. So you get that and the rim click on 3. So you might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, walking on the moon. That kind of stuff there, you see. And that's what happens with that. I am working fairly quick. And what happens then is that you can start to get a little bit fancy, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that starts to go down the track of when Zappa went reggae with Vinnie Colaiuta. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Boy! There you go. Basically, if you want to get into that a little bit, it's a double paradiddle, but with a left-hand start. So you get, I'll do it just normally like that. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3. That kind of thing there, you see? If you want to get into it, double paradiddle always helps. And there you go. Now, one of the things that also happens with the shuffle is that the shuffle itself is known by different names in different countries and all that. And of course, when we're talking about shuffles, you can't get away from just playing a bit of jazz. What happens is there's the shuffle, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then you take out 2 of the tars. 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 1. So on it goes. So you're off onto jazz, but I'm going to leave that for another time. Okay, that's your jazz kind of thing. As I said, I'm running through different things here. And one of the things that can happen, this is how I started the show, funnily enough. There's a little thing out there called the rolling shuffle. Lee Kerslake of Uriah Heep fame, and then later with Ozzy Osbourne on his first couple of solo albums, was fantastic at a rolling shuffle. You know it best as the kind of beat you get for "This Time I'm Playing to Win" and Jimmy Barnes, "Lay Down Your Guns and Surrender." That kind of that kind of thing there. With that, you start out with a triplet, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. Then what you do is you accent the 2 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1. And then right hand on a cymbal. Where shall I go? I'll go to the hi-hat. And then, of course, whack your bass drum in. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Now that particular beat something like that. I managed to get a couple of paradiddles in there. And what I've still got this thing. Under suffering, I tell you. Oh boy. But what happens with the rolling shuffle, you often hear it in Celtic music, because when you're talking about Irish rock bands and they play the wonderful traditional Irish songs, you know, and all that stuff, and you're dealing with an Irish jig, which is in 6/8. But what starts to happen is that the rolling shuffle, you can rock up some of the classic tunes like Rocky Road to Dublin and all sorts of different things, with a wonderful rolling shuffle when you're in an Irish rock band, you know, that kind of thing. Like the Young Dubliners, not the Dubliners, the Living Treasures. There's a band from, I think they're from New York, called the Young Dubliners, and they take on the all the Irish traditionals and really rock them up. They're fantastic, and so that's what you've got. You see, you got the Rocky Road to Dublin Mountain. And as I said just a minute ago, Lee Kerslake. Check out, blow the dust off the old Uriah Heep vinyls, and you'll hear Lee Kerslake in the mid-70s doing a mean rolling shuffle. And so much of their Uriah Heep's stuff. There's one album called Look at Yourself. If you know the one, it's just a fairly blank cover, but the middle of it's like a mirror, that kind of thing. And what is it? All very shuffly. And who remembers Ossie Bissa, the African rock band? They were fantastic. I saw them in Festival Hall around about 75, 76. Incredible. And they joined in on the percussion for that particular track. And all very rolling, roly-poly. There you go. Now, seeing I'm talking rolling shuffle and stuff like that with the, and Irish jig, this is where I go into this. Now, when you've got the bower on, da-dung, 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 if you know what I mean, what happens is that if you can get that with your bass drum, like 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, it's up behind me there, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, one-footed. You've got a little bit, if you can build that up and keep it going, you've got a little bit of a weapon there, sort of thing. So you get that kind of... But more so when I'm talking about things like the Irish frame drum and that, you can bring that in. Oh, come on, Chris. Once again, I'm using a double paradiddle. But underneath. And then you're working it up. You see? There you go. That's the Irish jig kind of thing. Now with that, what starts to happen then is that once there's a limitation. It's like gears on a car, something an example I use so often. You have that 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1 to 2 to 3. But what starts to happen is that there's a point where you need to change gears if you're going to go a bit quicker. So if you have 2 bass drums or a double kick pedal, what can start to happen is you can go down the track of most of you know that as a hot for teacher kind of thing. But when I first heard it, and I think actually, if I go down a little bit of history there, Mr. Alex Van Halen, the first time he heard it was off the same album I heard it off, was Spectrum by Billy Cobham, the very first track. And you can hear them talking in the background, going, everything you wanted to know about 6. It's in 6. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh boy, third week in, his cough. So there you go. Now what I've done there, I'm starting to think about wrapping the show up, is I've talked about shuffles, which, as I've said, can be a little bit deceptively difficult to nail. To have a good shuffle, you'll be a very popular drummer, that kind of thing. Sometimes it can come across a little staid or stiff. But one of the things about everything that I'm talking about, and that last one with the boogaloo, I forgot to talk about that. It's often known as a boogaloo pattern from the Billy Cobham days. But that actual term has sometimes been used for something else, so it can be a bit confusing. But I always grew up with it. Oh, that's a boogaloo pattern, and that's the typical that kind of thing. There you go. But anyway, there you go. That's that. Most people know, especially if you're in a more hard rock band. There's always that kind of stuff. People like Simon Phillips are great at things like that. He's on a Jeff Beck album where he's got the triplets going. It's all like a double kick rolling shuffle. I'm trying. What is it? I can see it. I can hear it, but I can't remember the name of the album, and I can't remember the is it Star something? Oh, I should have done my research. Anyway, well, I have done my research, but I'm just saying there's that one. I've sort of, but that's a kind of a Simon Phillips triplet bass drum thing. So you got that kind of that kind of stuff. There you go. All right. Now I better think about wrapping the show up. Let me go over a couple of things. Tonight is a dedication to Frank Beard of ZZ Top, who passed away just the other day, this week that I'm making the show. And as a dedication to him and ZZ Top, I thought I'd do a shuffle show in his honour. Okay. And there it is there. Now, just quickly going over things. The shuffle itself comes from a blues beat. So you've got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. Take out the and. 1 and a 2. I've done this already. I'm just recapping. 1 to 2 to 3. It becomes 1 to 2 to 3. And then you have all your derivatives. And what do I go down? I did the blues beat. I just did that. There's the basic shuffle. Halftime shuffle. Popular right now. Everyone knows the Rosanna shuffle. I didn't play it. Everyone else does. You play it. It's fantastic. Texan shuffle or the jump rhythm in jazz, but the Texan shuffle was big with Frank Beard of ZZ Top. Okay. Reggae one drop. Reggae itself, a la Police, Stuart Copeland, and then reggae a la Vinnie Colaiuta, Frank Zappa, getting out there a fair bit. Rolling shuffle. Lee Kerslake is the person I'm name dropping of Uriah Heep, and then later with Ozzy Osbourne. And then when you're going down the Celtic track, the rolling shuffle itself is fantastic for fitting in if you're in a Celtic band and really rocking up some of the Irish classics, things like that. And then I finished with the good old boogaloo, which we know best as the kind of like the Hot for Teacher thing, but it predates, goes back to Billy Colburn with Spectrum and bits and pieces like that. So there you have that, and I had better love and leave you. Oh, now for a nice glass of